really important that we begin to change the mindset of young people to know that your vote counts.
They don't understand that the legislative arm of government is actually a co-equal arm of government.
We have an incredible amount of potential.
Whatever it is I was doing, because of my personal DNA, it had to be of an international standard. Which is what, seriously speaking, is all about.
As you're watching this, love is already in the air. It's February, and a lot of people are thinking about love, about finding that partner, or finding that for Valentine's season. Well, on the edition of the show today, I'm taking a look at love and sex, a topic a lot of people don't like to deal with, but we have to deal with it, whether we like it or not, because without sex and love, there won't be life. But you see, we have to connect it in a way that we understand that given the right circumstances, the best can always be gotten out of this God-given gift. At least that's what my guest on the show today thinks, because she's written a book that would help people understand that in matters of the heart, a man that understands his wife is the one that's better able to get the best out of her, whether it's in bed or out of bed. So, it's Love and Sex on Seriously Speaking today, and my name remains Adesuwa Onyenokwe. Now, I'm going to show a little bit of the cover of this book as the reason why I'm having this conversation today, amongst other things, of course. Now, the cover says, how to get your wife to swing from the chandelier. How to get your wife to swing from the chandelier. And the writer and the author and all of that is here with me. Her name is Amaka Chika Mbono. It's nice to have you on set.
It's great to be here, Desua. Thank you.
But you're a bit wary, though, because you're not one of those that likes to speak publicly, just like that.
Exactly. I'm kind of, it might not look it, but that's because people say I don't look shy, but I'm kind of shy, yeah, but I want to take the bull by the horns and just go for it with this book, yeah.
So what makes you sit down and say, I must write a book like this? You've been married for
23 years.
23
I've known my husband for 25 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
For 23 years.
Yes.
And then you think suddenly it's important that men understand that if they get into their wives' minds, they can get into her heart and into her bed.
Yes, I truly believe that. I've been married for 23 years, and through personal experience, personal challenges, speaking to people and counseling people over the years, I found that one thing resonates with women all over. Anytime a woman is speaking to you, she's speaking about the fact that she wants her man to speak to her heart. In fact, I have written a poem, I wrote it a few years ago, called Make Love to My Mind. So most women, in fact, almost all the women I've spoken with, want the man to reach something so much deeper. And any man that has the ability to do that will find that his wife will be up to whatever.
So why is swinging from the chandelier?
Well, swinging from the chandelier...
I mean, an English graduate has a way with words.
Well, swinging from the chandelier for me is like letting loose. I mean, I was a bit wary about using that because...
What about the last part, in the red negligee?
Yeah, okay. So swinging from... I mean, red is like a... I know red is just sexy, I guess, whenever you think about the color red and all that. And negligee thinks about something flimsy and, just nice, a little red thing kind of thing. So swinging from the chandelier, so the whole thing, the red negligee, the swinging from the chandelier is kind of like what I call a metaphor, or it just gets you thinking, someone letting loose, letting go of all inhibitions in the right way, though, but just really letting loose and just being herself with her man, not just sexually, but every way.
Now, what you say in a biblical perspective, because what I find reading through the book and trying to write my own comments about the book before it came out, is the fact that it's like every single paragraph, everything you suggest, you find a section in the Bible that corroborates it. Why did you choose to go that route? Is it that within the church circles, you realize that there's a lot of pretentiousness going on?
Well, I don't know whether to call it being pretentious, but what I will say is that in church, we have a tendency to, and even in the secular world as well, just in the wider world, we have a tendency to shroud sex in mystery, as if it's something we shouldn't really talk about. We should just kind of snigger about it and talk about it quietly. So I kind of want to demystify that, because the Bible does, I'm a person of faith, and I just find that there's nothing I can talk about. I'm not perfect, but there's nothing I can talk about without kind of drawing reference from that. So for the person who isn't of my faith, these things still resonate. But the people who are in faith, who somehow believe that sex is something you should snigger about, you find that the Bible talks a lot about sex.
And that's it. Okay, but you know, the truth is, like I said, what prepares your story for me as an ordinary Nigerian and somebody who knows you and from where you're coming from is, for some reasons, you are also a wife who've suffered a certain level of infidelity. Why? It's not so unusual, but what was unusual about your case is that it was so blatant, bloated. The media was all over the place about how this guy has done this and done that, and then you're his wife. You know, it appears that, is it a function of, did she suffer this, that's why?
Well, that's a very old story, you know, so it's...
Yeah, 6 years ago or something like that.
Yeah, it's been there, done that. But the truth of the matter is, any author who is writing is going to write to some extent from experiences. I mean, in my case, yes, there's going to be some of me in the book, definitely. But there's also a lot of everybody else I've had the privilege of speaking to. Do you understand? So for me...
You know why I asked that? No,
yes.
I'm a kind of, seriously, with all sense of seriousness, is it possible that in some ways, because what happens is when the man is, when it's the other way, yes, it's like the woman hasn't played her part, that's why the man is going out.
Yes.
You know, but now you're telling us that men should also play their part to get the best out of their wives.
I truly believe, that's my conviction, not everybody will agree with this, that a man has a major role in drawing his woman out. And any man who is able to do so will find that through the challenges, all the challenges that come when you've been married for a while, the chances are you'll be able to get through them. If the man can reach something so quite deep inside a woman's heart, inside her mind, inside the very essence of her being.
Okay, now, I'm not trying to overflow the issue of infidelity, but the point most men give, this is not, my wife is not giving it to me, and so I'm looking for it outside.
I don't know, there seems to be some kind of misconception that women don't want it as much as the men. You understand? I think it's a misconception. The only thing is that women, I said it in a section of my book, that women are more interested in the journey as opposed to just the destination. You understand? Women like the whole, you know how the travel agencies, they tell you the journey is part of the whole experience. So for women, the journey matters just as much. So I would say, yes, there'll be exceptions to the rule, but I would say for most women, if she's not giving it to you the way you want it, chances are there's something, I believe there's something that might be missing. You might not have reached where she needs you to reach.
So what does this book seek to achieve, therefore? Because I find it interesting because you had 7 chapters. Is that and then 1 extra, you call it. Is that intentional?
Yes, it's intentional because 7 is the number of perfection.
Oh.
Yes, 7 is the number of perfection. God created the world in 7 days. So 7 chapters to bring your marriage to...
to the height.
To the heights, yes.
Every chapter ends with do this, do this, do that.
I ended every chapter with an action point because men always say, why won't women just say what they want? So in the book, I've given tips. That's what men say. They say, why don't we just say what we want? So at the end of each chapter, I've given tips, what I call kind of action points, so that this is what this chapter is talking about, and these are 1 or 2 of the things you could do to get the ball rolling, yes.
Okay, before I take a break, I must introduce someone, I took your permission to invite her, who's going to join us on set to have this conversation, because sometimes, like, 2 of us are just talking above people's heads, you know, because we're still married to our guys, right? But I have, Uri, please join us, Uri, join us. I have a phenomenal woman who's been doing great things for women with disabilities. Uri, I'm not going to hug you, but I'll give you a high five.